Our number one priority is protecting our players. That's why we're writing new rules for the sport and developing innovative educational tools that protect our athletes. This is player protection. This is high school football.
What's up, everyone? Hope everybody is being safe. I see John Aurora is on the road. So be safe out there, John. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's training. So we're going to continue on with Rule 3. Last week we talked about, intermission, how you break the periods up, overtime, what we do on a point differential. We also looked at the coin toss and how to conduct the coin toss properly. And we also looked at when to extend a period, when not to extend a period. All those are recorded. If you haven't seen those yet, it should be on Nearpod shortly. I'll wait till we finish this before we got started. Well, today, we're going to be covering the rest of Rule 3. Apologize for that. All right. We're going to complete the rest of Rule 3 in Section 4, starting and stopping the game periods. In Rule 3.2.1, each half of the game shall start by a kickoff. That's the beginning of the game starting off. That's the start of the second half. We're all going to start off with a kickoff. But we want to find out, when do the game clock starts, right? We already know in a high school game it's 48 minutes, broken up into playing blocks of 12 minutes each. But when do we start the clock? Because we want to get that clock rolling. We want that clock to get started. So here we go. If the period begins with a free kick, when the kick is touched, other than first touching by K, and if the period begins with a snap, the ball will begin with a legal snap. So let's look at that Section A right now. During a free kick, it is first touching, if the ball is touched in the field of play by any K player before it crosses R's free kick line and before it touched there by any R player. If you see here, the red line is where the 50-yard line is. That's 10 yards in advance. And we can see that he touched the kicking team, which is blue, touched the ball before it went 10 yards. Now, I've seen a lot of different officials, they'll throw a flag and say, you got illegal touching. However, in the Federation rules, there is no illegal touching in regards to K touching the ball before it goes 10 yards, unlike maybe NCAA or professional NFL. However, at the high school level, it's illegal. It's first touching, and we drop a beanbag. So wherever the ball is touched by K before it goes past the 10-yard line, we're going to drop a beanbag there, and then you're going to let the referee know that, hey, we got first touching because they touched the ball before R touched it or before it went 10 yards. And then, depending on after the play, R can either choose first touching or take the result of the play if it's then first touching. Now, if the ball, let's say the ball goes past 10 yards, and let's say K touches the ball after it goes 10 yards. Well, if it's touched by K after the ball has went past the 50-yard line, if they muff it, not they possess it, they muff it, we will start the clock. So the clock starts if anyone touches the ball, unless it's first touching by K. And first touching only between the 40 and the 50-yard line, or wherever that 10-yard buffer zone is. That is everything considered first touching. So once it goes past the 50-yard line, and if K touches the ball or muffs it, it will wind the clock. However, if they possess it, then we're going to kill it. K can't return a kick, but they can recover it. But if they touches it, don't get ahead of yourself. A touch doesn't mean it's dead. All right, if they touch it and it's still loose, it's still alive. We just wind the clock if K touches it. Okay. All right. Let's look at when the clock starts on a period or a snap, right? So we pretty much understand it's going to be either the first half or after a score, after a try, there'll be a free kick. After the safety, there'll be a free kick. After the field goal, there'll be a free kick. And the 10-yard buffer zone, clock doesn't start until any player touches it past the R's free kick line. Again, if they're on the 20, kicking to the 30, once it goes past the 30, if K touches the ball, it's wind the clock. If they possess it, we kill the clock. Okay. But let's talk about a snap. We're gonna be in between periods or after the change of possession, whatever. When the clock starts, picture is down. I'm trying to fix that picture. There we go. All right. All right. The game clock should start with a snap. You know, we already know about the free kick stuff. If the clock will stop because. So we're going to look at some reason why the clock will stop and then what will start the clock once it's stopped. All right. The ball go out of bounds. All right. If the ball go out of bounds in the player possession or no player possession, we're going to stop the clock. And one of the biggest things here, one of the biggest things that I really wanted to talk about, because this has really become another challenge I see with a lot of game officials, is knowing when to stop the clock or who stops them. Okay? So the stop clock signal is signal 3, which is this signal here. Okay. This signal belongs to any covering official who's in position of the ball being, or the covering official know the clock's supposed to stop. So if you're the covering official and the ball goes out of bounds, you're going to be the one that stopped the clock. Not going to come up there and just throw your hand up, go stop the clock. Okay. Another reason for the clock to stop is to start if B and R is awarded a new series. So we had to stop the clock because B recovered the ball, R recovered the ball after a kick. The clock is going to start once the ball is snapped. Either team is awarded a new series following a free kick, a legal kick. So again, same thing. If the kickoff, whoever recovered the ball, the clock will start. Ball becomes dead behind the goal line. Again, it could be a touchback, it could be a safety. The clock will start a snap or a free kick, depending on what it is. Illegal for a pass. If a pass is incomplete, or if it's illegal for a pass, the clock will stop and it will start on the snap. There's 10 of them here. A charge timeout, TV charge timeout. You know, they want to give a timeout. Some states do that. All right, the period ends. A team attempts to consume time illegally. All right. Or delay a game foul is accepted. So if a delay a game foul and the penalty is accepted, the clock will start on the snap. Okay. And a fair catch is made. So any of these instances, out of these 10, if any time we stop the clock because of this, and we're going to look at this again in a little bit, the game clock will start once the ball is snapped. All right. So starting the game clock before the snap, the game clock should start with the ready for play on a down beginning with a snap if the game clock was stopped for any reason other than specified in 343 as on time down. So we already looked that over, and it's again the same thing. So if it's not one of these, the reason why the clock stopped, we're going to be on a 40-second play clock. We're going to be on the clock going to start on a ready if the clock was stopped because of any of these. I apologize. Got ahead of myself there. All right, let's look at this. For an official timeout, other than when B is awarded a new series or either team is awarded a new series following a kick. So we already went over there already again. That's what those are the first two highlighted there. So it's just letting us know that we will start the clock for an official timeout if we stop it for an official timeout. But if it's one of those two, B got awarded like a fumble recovery, defense recovered the ball, obviously going to start on the snap. After a kick or recover the ball, or the other team recovers the ball, it will start on the snap. So it's just a little reminder there. So some other times that we'll start on already because the ball has become dead following a foul. Okay, a couple of nuances to there. There has been no charge timeout during the dead ball interval. So there was a foul, no team called a timeout. As soon as we get done administrating the foul, we're going to start the play. We're going to start the game clock. The down is not extended for a period or try. So on an on-time down, obviously the clock is not running, so the clock will not start on a ready for play. If we have to redo a on-time down or a time experiment or try, obviously the clock won't be running. The action which caused the down to end did not also cause the game clock to stop. What that means is, again, if let's say there's holding on the clock was running, ball was snapped, A was running the ball, and let's say they fumbled the ball. No, let's say they scored a touchdown, but it was holding on offense. So what's going to happen now, we're going to bring back for the holding, we're going to mark it off. But because the reason why the clock stopped, because they went into the end zone, the clock will not start until the snap. It won't start on the ready, although it was running prior to them scoring a touchdown. All right. Because of inadvertent whistle, unless B or R is in possession at the time of the inadvertent whistle during a running play and choose to accept the result of the play. That's another reason. So we had inadvertent whistle and we had to stop the play because of inadvertent whistle. If A still has the ball, once we decide what they want to do, either they want to take the result of the play or replay it down, clock will start on the ready for play. Inadvertent whistle. All right, a couple of reasons why another reason why the game clock should stop. Nope, the down ends following foul, a official timeout, a charge timeout, a period ends, the ball go out of bounds. Sometimes the rule is kind of redundant. It said it and it said it again. A forward pass incomplete, an inadvertent whistle, an airborne receiver is carried out of bounds, not backwards. Okay. And basically it said if he goes backwards, the clock keeps running. He go out sideways, the clock keeps running. If he get carried out of bounds forward, the clock stops. So if you look here, here's are some official timeouts. And you're going to see a lot of those are mixed up together on this official timeout. So the biggest thing is, okay, so there's a lot of reasons to stop the clock, but when do we know when to, is it starting to snap or should it start on the ready? I mean, there's a lot of reasons why the clock should be stopped. And the running study guide in 2022, in the book, he mentioned this in the book. It says, it is important to remember on any given play, there may be more than one reason for the clock to stop. Whenever there is more than one reason for the stop in the clock, one of those reasons requires it to start on the snap. Then starting on the snap prevails. To say it another way, the reason for starting the clock on the snap outranks those for starting on the ready. Thus, we can classify reasons for stop the clock as major and minor clock stoppages. So again, if you look at these are the ones we went over already. Any one of these would be considered a major clock stoppage. Any of these 10. If the ball go out of bounds, the major clock stoppage. Awarded defense or the receiving team awarded a new series, major clock stoppage. A new series following a legal kick, that could be, R touched it, K recovered it, K get to keep the ball, starts on the snap, ball dead behind the goal line, forward pass. All these right here are reasons why the clock will start on the snap, which are major clock stoppages. These, however, are what we call minor clock stoppages. These are minor clock stoppages, and these, if we had to stop the game clock because of any of these reasons, I think it's like 12, we will start the game clock as soon as we get done whatever administrator it is. So if it's an injury, we change out the ball, we do the heat, we do a timeout because it's hot, coach referee conference. If it winds up charging to the coach, then it doesn't. But if it's one of them, well, no, it was charged to us, the clock will start. Any unusual delay, would have taken too time to get up or get started. Any attempt to conserve time. Any of these reasons, while we have to stop the game clock, and as soon as we get done with any of these reasons, the clock will start. Okay. Now, 3-4-6 is a very unique rule. It gives the referee all right. So when a team is attempts to conserve or consume time illegally, the referee shall order the game or play clock to start or stop. So I've done it before. Been in a game, the clock is running. Defense is trying to slow down the game, and they really taking their time. And the clock will be running. I will stop it until I'm able to set the ball, and then I'll restart it. If I feel that somebody trying to consume time illegally or time is just running, I will stop the game clock or end the game clock to make sure that no team is not getting advantage because of it. Another rule that was changed, and there was a little confusion about this rule, and that is a foul within the last 2 minutes of either half, either the second period or the fourth period. There's a foul with less than 2 minutes on the clock. So this is not like college, where college have a 10-second runoff. But that's actually under a minute if the clock is running and so forth. Basically what this rule states, if we had to stop the clock for a minor clock stoppage, okay, not a major clock stoppage, we just stop it just to enforce a foul, and which basically is here. It wasn't an incomplete pass. It wasn't anything that's a major clock stoppage. And typically the clock's supposed to run as soon as we finish the administration of the foul. The team that was a foul on, the offended team, get to choose to either have the play clock starts normal, the game clock start normally when they're on the ready for play, or they can say, no, I want the game clock to start on the snap. That only comes into play if the clock's supposed to run no matter what. So again, it wasn't a major clock stoppage, it was a minor clock stoppage because of the foul. They get to make that choice. it doesn't matter if they accept the penalty or not. So they can say, I mean by accept the penalty, they can decline the yardage. Let's say, I don't want to take the foul, but I still want the clock to start on the snap. You can do either or. So you don't have to accept the foul in order to get the clock to start on the snap. You get there's two different choices. Either you're going to accept the foul, yes or no. Do you want the clock to start on the snap or the ready? All right, section 5, charge and official timeouts and intermission. So we're gonna go really quick with some bullet points. Rule 3, 5, 1 through 3, 4, and 5. If you got a rule, you can look at it. You want to look more deeper into it, go ahead. Each team is entitled to 3 timeouts each half. We all know that, right? A single timeout shall not exceed 1 minute. Very important. I know a lot of officials want to cry and complain about, oh, this game taking too long. But, those little extra minutes on these timeouts and nothing but domino effects and build upon the game taking extremely too long. One of the tricks is referees don't huddle in the middle. Even the mechanics manual tells us not to huddle. We still like to do it for some reason. There's no reason for the wing official, the umpire, the referee to get together in the middle and talk about whatever. Typically, when you do this, you extend your time past a minute, and now we're doing that for every game. So make sure, referee and the 4-man mechanics, you're keeping track of that. At 45 seconds, blow the whistle. Wing official, you say, let the coaches know you got 15 seconds. And the mechanics may say no more than 5 seconds after the timeout is ended, you give it ready for play. All right. Successive charge timeouts may be granted. So it's not like college. If I have 3 timeouts and I want to blow all 3 of my timeouts in one given setting, I'm allowed to. If I call a timeout and my defensive my opponent want to call a timeout after I get done calling mine, they can. And if I want to call another timeout after they call theirs, I can. We can keep doing that until we run out of timeouts. Okay. No timeouts remaining. Request shall be denied. There's no foul if a team run out of timeouts and say, "Give me a timeout." Not a foul. Hopefully, we keeping track of that. We're not giving somebody a timeout just for the mere of stopping the clock, and then we realize they don't have any timeouts. So make sure that we always keep track of the timeouts, obviously. But there's no foul for calling a 4th timeout. We just ignore them, deny it. All right. Timeout is hold until a decision is made for a penalty. Very important. We talked about this earlier. If we have a foul, holding, whatever foul may be, when we stop the clock because of a foul, and one of the coaches say, "Hey, give me a timeout," that timeout has to wait until we get a decision from the offended team if they want to accept or decline the foul. All right. I know we just jump in there and give them their timeout prior to that, but they're not supposed to get that timeout until a decision is made for the foul. Okay, so a charge timeout occurs when the ball is dead and requested by a player, head coach, or head coach designee, or repair player equipment requiring assistance, not part of the 3, 5, 10, right? And only if team has timeouts for that timeout to repair the equipment. All right. And then a coach referee conference. So these are 3 reasons why we can have a timeout, charge timeout doing a dead ball. We don't give timeout while the ball is live, not basketball. So once the ball comes dead, they want to timeout for any reasons, but we'll grant it. So there's 2 types of authorized conference timeouts. Okay. We have the outside the 9-yard mark, and we have between the 9-yard mark. So like on this picture diagram here, this is what we call outside the 9-yard marks. So the 9-yard marks is the little, the 40-yard line, or they don't have it out there, guesstimate. And typically when all the coaches want to come out and speak to their players, they have to do a 9-yard mark. And it's something that we keep trying to enforce with our wing officials. Don't let coaches go past you, right? If you call a timeout, walk out like you see L and LJ here doing, and stop them. Hey, don't go past me. Not to the hashes. They go no more than 9 yards on the field, and that's an outside the 9-yard mark. Meaning, right? Now, inside the 9-yard marks means they're going to meet in between the numbers. Now, if they're going to meet between the numbers, they're only allowed to have one coach and 3 water personnel, which is not a coach, that are able to come in the middle of the field or within the 9-yard marks. They have these conversations. So again, we got to be very active here. There's not a time for us to huddle up and whatever. We got responsibilities to do, and one of those is to keep, depending if they're doing an inside or outside, is to keep respect the number of players and coaches depending on conference they have it. Again, we always say just send them to the sideline, do outside 9-yard marks. Now you can't have two. You can't have an outside and an inside at the same time. You only can have one. So you can't have a coach meeting with the players in the middle of the field, and then another player runs to the sideline to talk to another coach. That is illegal and is grounds for unsportsmanlike conduct foul. So understand, when you violate one of these rules in timeouts, it's actually an unsportsmanlike conduct foul. It's a 15-yard penalty. All right. Now, a charge timeout shall be reduced in length only if both teams are ready for play prior to the play by the referee. In other words, if defense call a timeout and then offense, okay, defense call a timeout, but defense is ready to go and offense is still on the side using up that timeout, they're allowed to use that entire minute up. So just because the team that called a timeout doesn't mean they get to dictate on when we start. If offense call a timeout and defense go over for a break, if offense come back early, offense have to wait until defense is ready or once the 1 minute expires. All right, so an authorized conference may be held on a charge timeout. So obviously, again, somebody called timeout, obviously. An official timeout. So an official timeout, if it falls in 357G, 357K, 357L. If it's not one of those, then we don't allow them to have a charge timeout. Okay, it has to be one of these in order. One of those three, and I think I have it on here. Those three are so that they may get a charge timeout. All right, if granted by the referee, as in 3-5-10, and we'll cover that in a little bit. All right, only one type of authorized team conference may be used during any timeout. So again, like I said before, can't do outside and inside. Can't have two. You have either or. And you can't do 30 seconds. We're going to do an outside the 9-yard mark, and the other 30 seconds we're going to do it inside the 9-yard mark. No, whatever you do, whatever authorized team conference you do, decide to jump on for that timeout has to be that entire minute. You can't break it, divide it, partition it, any of that. Now, if you call another timeout, you do something else. But if it's the same timeout, and again, this is something that our wing officials need to be on, watching, make sure coaches are not violating that, and so on and so forth. All right. So only one conference can be used on any charge timeout and on an official timeout. So it's just being redundant, the rule book for you. So these are the official timeouts. And if you see the ones in yellow, these are the ones that can follow with a team conference. If we stop it for heat, for a radio timeout, or for a 1 minute intermission between periods. But if we do a measurement for a first down, there is no authorized chart. They can't have a team conference. They can't be on the field inside or outside of 9-yard marks. Obviously, we declare a first down. Following a change of team possession. We see it all the time. They go right into a conference. Right, we get the ball. They go and they have an huddle. You know, this is not a time for a team conference unless they're going to call a timeout. Once the ball is set, we got ready for play. We're ready to go. All right. Okay, and outside the 9-yard marks may be held for anything in Rule 358. Rule 358, if you go up to the top where it says number 3, it's just saying it is being redundant. It's talking about line 3 on an unauthorized conference. So doing a 3-5-10, you also have authorized conference. We'll go over there here. All right, so if you have injury timeout, the teams are allowed to have outside the 9-yard marks. I heard officials telling coaches, "Hey, there's an injury timeout. You can't talk to your players." No, they can have a authorized timeout on us, obviously on the injured player, but they have to be outside the 9-yard marks. They can't have it inside the middle of the field or inside the net. Got to be outside the net. All right, another thing. This is actually in Rule 981F notes. Between downs, communication between players and coaches near the sideline are not considered conferences. So you hear it all the time, right? Got 2 or 3 people always running to the sideline. You might have the whole team run to the sideline in between plays to get the play from the coach. Well, that is allowed as long. I mean, the coach shouldn't be on the field, obviously, but if the team want to run to the sideline and get a play every down, that does not constitute a timeout. And that you hear the coach, they got a timeout over there. They want to come on the field. No, it's not a timeout. The play clock is running. But if they want to run to the sideline and do a huddle, they do not have to do a huddle in the middle of the field. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so Rule 3-5-10 is what we're going to be covering right now. An official timeout, which is not a charge timeout, either team occurs, but players shall be replaced for at least 1 down unless halftime, intermission, or overtime occurs. So these are like 5 of them. If any of these 5 happen, this player has to go out for 1 play. So the apparent injury, if we said injury and we call a timeout, for that injured player, that player has to go out for 1 play. This is not college. You cannot buy yourself back in with a timeout. So if I call a timeout, can he stay in? No, he cannot. He has to go out for 1 play, no matter if you call a timeout or anything. Exhibit any player who exhibits a concussion. Again, you look in the back of the rule book, it covers the concussions, some signs, so it's very good to know that. Blood discovered or on a player uniform. If a player is bleeding, let's take care of it. Spots of blood is not really a big deal. If the blood is saturating the top of the clothes or the bottom of the clothes, yes, them clothes have to be replaced. But a little spot of blood on a uniform doesn't have to be replaced. Right? The helmet comes completely off during the down or subsequent dead ball action related to the down without being directly attributed to a foul by an opponent. Now, a couple of things. have it completely come off. So if it just comes up and it's still in his head, come up to his nose, just gotta strap it back up, he's good to go, or she's good to go. Also, this does not refer to a helmet coming off during a dead ball. All right. There is no foul in high school football if a player takes his helmet off in between downs. Ball is dead is not a foul, not like college NFL. I know a lot of officials try to throw unsportsmanlike conduct foul, but unfortunately, it's not unfortunately. Fortunately, it's not a foul. Okay. All right. Any required equipment is missing or improperly worn. So we're missing the hip pads, thigh pads, butt pads, whatever is missing. Going to next dead ball before the ball becomes live. We can tell the player you got to leave the field until they get it corrected. Now it's not a foul. It's not a penalty if a player is missing equipment or is improperly worn. Okay. Now if they're wearing some illegal equipment that we're discussing rule 1, that's a 15-yard. But missing equipment is not a foul. It's just coach can't come off the field to get that equipment. So a couple of diagrams here. Runner got hit, helmet came off. It wasn't contributed to a foul. Number 4 has to go off the field for one play, down, and can't come back on unless it's a halftime or intermission occurs. They would come back on. All right. So this one, it was a face mask, and the helmet came off. Well, because it was a foul, the player can stay in the game if the coach wanted to. You don't see no signs of concussion. So a coach-referee conference. In Rule 2, the referee confers with the coach at the sideline in front of his team box in the field of play. Very important. The location of this coach-referee conference is very important. It's not in the middle of the field. The coach can't come onto the middle of the field, and don't allow a coach to come onto the field to have a discussion with you in regards to a misapplication of a rule. Go over to the sideline, but stay on the field of play, inside the field of play, and that's where you have your coach referee conference. And the wing official on that side should also be there as well. Let's talk about the coach referee conference in 3511. It's for reviewing decisions that may result in a misapplication and misinterpretation of the rule. This can happen. I'm not gonna really go in really detailed depth on this, maybe in level 2, but yeah. So be mindful of that. May be requested by a player or a head coach. All right. So when they call for a coach referee conference, there's going to be a charge timeout to them. If we make a decision, if we change our ruling based on that timeout, then it becomes an official timeout and the team doesn't lose a timeout. However, if it doesn't result in a change, team lose their timeout and either get through the rest of that minute. If it's been a minute already, then we get right back into the game. All right, and it happens on the field of play in front of the team box. All right, so if you have to make a change, obviously you want to notify the opposing coach, change it to a charge timeout into a timeout. Again, hard pill to swallow, because especially we have to make a change. The other coach is really going to be upset, but hey, sometimes it's part of the job. All right, and decision stands, charge timeouts remains, right? So in other words, if we don't make a change on the decision, charge timeout remains. And if there's no timeouts remaining and the decision stands, it'll be a delay of game on the team that calls the coach referee conference, and it'll be a 5-yard penalty from the spot where we're at, and then we'll go next. All right. So a coach is not permitted to question any judgment decision by a game official during a coach referee conference. So if a coach just want to get with you and just let off some steam or vent about how he don't think that was a pass interference call, uh, then whatever the case may be, that's a decision. We're gonna cut the coach referee conference short because that's not what it's for. But in the case book, it actually showed that one of the referees did a no catchable sign, and the reason why they didn't call pass interference because the ball wasn't catchable. But in high school football, that exception doesn't exist. So you can still have a pass interference call even if the ball wasn't catchable. If you feel that the contact happened uh, in the vicinity of the ball, don't make a difference if the ball is catchable or not. It is pass interference, and you can rule on it. But in the case book, the referee said, "Yeah, I didn't call it because it wasn't catchable." But that was a misapplication of the rule. The referee had to throw the flag for pass interference, and then let the other coach know what he did, and you can imagine how that went. All right. So in Rule 359, it says unless the game clock is already stopped, official timeout shall be taken as soon as the ball becomes dead following a change of team possession, or whenever the coverage official declares the ball is dead and it appears that the ball has reached the line of game. All right. So there's a down that this would be possible, and it's actually fourth down. So what we always let officials know, if it's fourth down, you already know as soon as the play is over, we're stopping the clock. We all should be stopping the clock on fourth down because either it's going to be a change of possession or there's going to be a first down. We don't have to throw our hands up, go dead ball foul, and then say, well, first down, is it, or what is it? Doesn't matter. At the end of fourth down, we're stopping the clock at the end of fourth down because we know it's going to be a change of possession or it's going to be a first down. So just know on fourth down, we automatically stop the clock. All right, right along. Play clock, section 6, play clock, all ready or ready for play or and delay. All right. So the ready for play signifies that the ball may be put in play by snap or free kick within 25 seconds or 40 seconds on the play clock. So this rule has been changed a couple of years now, but a couple of people still kind of like not really don't understand about the when to have a silent whine or a whistle whine, and we'll talk about here in a second. All right. So the ball is ready for play. In two ways, the ball can be ready for play. When the ball has been marked and placed for a down, and the referee marks the ball ready for play after giving the ready for play signal with the game officials in position. Now, we're talking about a 25-second play clock. And on a 25-second play clock, there will be the signal and the whistles. You hear the referee blow the whistle. He'll blow the whistle, say, hey, the 25-second play clock is running, and obviously got 25 seconds to snap the ball. So here are a couple of reasons why we have a 25-second play clock prior to a try following a score. To start a period or overtime series or following administration of an inverted whistle, following a charge timeout, following an official timeout with some exceptions, cover that in a minute, following a legal kick when either team is awarded a new series, and following a stoppage of play clock by the referee for any other reason. So we have to stop the clock and the play clock. Then when we, for any of these reasons, we're going to come back with a 25-second whistle, a whistle, and a 25-second play clock. Now, for anything else, starting immediately after the ball has been ruled dead by a game official, after the down, the ball has been placed on the ground, and the game official stepped away. So we're talking about a 40-second play clock. Okay? Play clock is set to 40 seconds and start immediately when the running play ends, the teammate gains a first down or a pass. And those three different signals. The signal you see here is it's signal 7 for dead ball because it was a running play. We'll cover the rest in this. All right, when the cover official declares the ball dead with an upraised arm, the play clock begins countdown for 40 seconds. So again, real quick, if it's a run play and we're covered and it's not a first down, our hand goes straight up. As soon as the play is over, blow the whistle, hand goes up. That means the 40-second play clock starts then. All right. And so, the player stepped out of bounds. The 40-second play clock starts. As soon as the referee put the ball down and step away, then we have then they may snap the ball and do what they have to do. But it's not ready until after we get a step away. Okay. So right here, this is out of the mechanics manual, out of the rule book. So the 40-second play clock starts. And if you look at the part in black, the cover official will give three signals, or she'll give three signals. Signal 3, which is stop clock. Signal 7, which is dead ball, or signal 10, which is incomplete pass. So as soon as the play is over, we should be given one of these signals every play, especially the wing official, whatever. Either is incomplete pass, the play is dead inbounds, not a first, or we have a first down, we're stopping the clock, and the play clock is going to run. Okay. And I look for these things when I evaluate officials. Are they using the proper hand signal after each down? Now, there was an exception made, and that if the 40-second play clock has started or is about to start, and there's either injury on defense or we have a equipment issue. Once we deal with that, the offense get to get their 40-second play clock back. They don't get to go to 25-second play clock. Also, the same thing for a foul. So the play clock is running and we have a foul by the defense, like encroachment or something like that. Guess what? We're going to stop the play clock. We're going to stop the game clock. We're going to administer the foul. And then once we get done, we're going to go back to a 40-second play. Okay. So that's that. Delay a game. So obviously, if there's a play clock, there has to be a punishment if you don't get the ball off in time. And it says actions or inaction which prevents promptness and putting the ball into play is a delay a game. Fair to snap or free kick prior to the play clock expires. That unnecessary carrying the ball after it become dead. So I know some officials, I get somebody unsportsmanlike conduct for doing that, but you got a player who run with the ball a little bit and not giving it back. If you really have this issue with them, it's a delay of game foul, 5-yard penalty. Okay. A coach referee conference, there's no charge or no team timeout. We already looked that up, saw that already. Snapping or free kicking the ball before it's ready for play. So obviously, if they're kicking the ball before you go ready for play or snapping the ball before you're ready, it is a delay of game foul if you do decide to give that. Many of us don't, but if you decide, hey, I'm keep doing it, understand it's a delay game. Any conduct which is unduly prolongs the game. So, defense. So, guys, we we do not allow offense to snap the ball if defense is not ready. I know a lot of people like to say, well, offense don't have to wait on defense. That's absolute. But if we're coming back from a timeout or end of a period or whatever the case may be, and you tell everybody, let's go. And offense, let's go. Offense on the field, ready to go. Defense now on the field. You blow the ready for play. We're going to hold that ball. And if they're not out there within 25 seconds, we're going to call a delay of game on the defense. But what we're not going to do is allow the offense to get a cheap score because we're going to show a point to the defense. So either we're going to give either wait or we're going to get a defense a delay of game foul for not being ready at or when you're ready to go and everybody's set up to go. All right. And fair to unpile an opponent in a timely manner. So again, if I got somebody out there and they're taking their time unpiling, either I'm gonna call it a delay game or I'm gonna stop the clock. It depends if I feel if it's being maliciously done or it's just whatever. So one of the biggest things that I really want everybody to understand in the rule book, in each rule book, behind at the end of every section, sometimes they have what we call penalty notes. And this is actually the first one in the rule book from Rule 1. This is the first time they actually have penalty notes at the bottom. So obviously a delayed game is a 5-yard penalty, but if you notice, it says Article 2A through F, delay a game, S7 through 21. When you see that, that's the signals that you're supposed to use when calling delay a game foul, which is signal 7 and signal 21. Now, I see some officials, they might just do this. Understand that in the rule book, it'll tell you what signals are used for the fouls that you're going over. So for a delay a game, it's air ball foul, delay a game, on the offense. Okay, so it's 2 signals you do delay a game foul. Illegal substitution. This is the last section. All right, section 7, substitution. All right, let's go over a couple of definitions. A player is one of the 22 players on the field. All right. A substitute is a member who's coming to replace a player or fill a vacancy. And a replaced player is a person who notified to leave because of something. All right. So between downs, any number of eligible substitutes may replace players upon meeting the criteria of 232, 212. Replaced players shall begin to leave the field within 3 seconds. So again, there is a common foul that we hear a lot of, and that is they broke the huddle with 12. So this is one of the diagrams, and I hope you read this and it makes sense. So a replaced player shall begin to leave the field within 3 seconds. The 3 seconds begins when a player becomes a replaced player, as defined in Rule 2. A substitute becomes a player as defined. We just looked those up. It is not a foul to break a huddle with more than 11 players, as long as the replaced players begin to leave the field within 3 seconds. So again, there is no such thing as illegal substitution for breaking the huddle with 12. All right? As long as I told the person, substitute came in, you go 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, whatever. If that player is leaving the field, even though they're breaking the huddle, it's not a foul as long as that player continues to leave the field. Okay? The player stops and stays on the field, then you can have an illegal substitution because it's been more than 3 seconds and the player haven't left the field yet. But this makes you understand there is no foul for breaking the huddle with 12. Okay? That's a college thing, NFL thing. It's not a high school. All right, and this right here gives a case play of that same thing on either case. All right, let's look at the penalty notes for illegal substitution. This is how we're going to talk about this, because I think one of the biggest things when you get down to illegal substitution is that it's not a cookie cutter thing. There's actually 3 different categories for illegal substitution. And some people be thinking that all of them are dead ball fouls when they're not. Some are live balls, some are dead balls. And if you actually look at this penalty notes, it tells you Article 1, 2, and 3, the illegal substitution, they give you 2 signals: dead ball signal and signal 22. So anytime you see signal 3, that telling you off the rip that it's going to be a dead ball foul. Okay. Then you have Articles 4 and 5, which is illegal substitution. But if you see, you only got signal 22, which means this is a live ball foul. It's not a dead ball foul. We let the ball, we don't kill the play. We let the play happens. And then the last one is illegal substitution. This is also a live ball foul. Signal 22 is a 5-yard penalty, but is a non-player foul. Now, each one of these is important because it tells you how you're going to enforce the foul. Okay. So we got the signal 7, and we got signal 22. Only in 3 of these do we do both of these signals, and everyone else is only 1 signal because of the live ball foul. If we can cover it real fast. All right. So if we had to break these 3 up into the 3 different categories, it'd be the dead ball foul before the snap. So these are illegal substitution fouls that happen before the snap. There'll be dead ball. We'll blow the whistle. We're going to let the play commence, and then we're going to mark it off. The next one is the next 2 are live ball fouls. These are fouls that don't become fouls until the ball is snapped. That means simultaneously with the snap. That means once the ball is snapped, it instantly becomes a foul. But these are live ball fouls. No, we're not going to kill the play. We're going to throw the flag, but we're going to allow the play to commence. And then you got the illegal substitution non-player foul. It's the one when a player come on the field after the ball is snapped. So we got illegal substitution before the snap, which are dead ball fouls. Then we got the illegal substitution that happens when the ball becomes live. These are simultaneously with the snap. And then you got illegal substitution that happens once the ball has been snapped. All right, let's get to them. Okay, so look at the first one, dead ball fouls before the snap. Between downs, any number of players, substitutes, we already read this before. So as long as, if they do not sub out within 3 seconds, this is a dead ball foul. We blow the whistle. This is offense and defense. To let you know, it's not an offensive foul. This also could be applied to defense. A lot of times we don't, but it can be. So we count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, hey, somebody got to go. Somebody got to go. If we're really being tight with them, yes, we can call it, or no, we can wait right before the ball gets snapped. If a player replaced player or substitute is required to leave the field at the sideline on which his team box is located and go directly to his team box. In other words, what that means is, let's say I'm supposed to go off the field. Another player came on, but I'm close to the end line. So I step out of bounds behind the end line. That's a dead ball foul. All right. The only places I can go out of bounds to be replaced is my sideline, my boundary line. So if I go out on the end line, or if I go out on the other sides area, so let's say I want to get off real fast, so I step onto my opponent's side of the bench, that's a dead ball foul, illegal substitution. You can't do it. Okay. If a player steps off at the 10-yard line, but he stays there, doesn't go to his box, but stay there and watch the play or watching the play, that's a dead ball foul, illegal substitution, because he has to get off the field and then go directly to his team box. All right. During the same dead ball interval, no substitute shall become a player and then withdraw, and a player shall withdraw and re-enter as a substitute unless a penalty is accepted. Dead ball fouls occur. There is a charge timeout, or a period end. In other words, if I'm player 2 and then player 3 comes in and says, hey, I'm subbing you out, and I step off the field, I can't come back on to sub out someone else or do something else unless there's a dead ball foul, a charge timeout, or the period ends, or anything like that. But this is to prevent all that trickery. Like, oh, I want to make sure I'm gonna get him out and bring him back in on a down note. Can't do it. So if two go out, two can't come back in unless the ball is a dead ball foul. And if somebody go off, they can't come back in. That's what that means by that. All right. So it's gonna be a dead ball foul, signal 7, and signal 22, illegal substitution. All right. So let's look at live ball foul simultaneously with the snap. During a down, a replaced player or substitute who attempts unsuccessfully to leave the field and does not participate in or affect the play constitute illegal substitution. That's a classic one, right? And it typically, it typically only happens on defense because offense controls the football, the snap. But let's say a sub came in and now the other sub has to run off the field. Now we know if he goes out any other than his sideline, we got a dead ball foul. But let's say he's running off, and about 2 or 3 steps before you get off the field, the ball is snapped. Well, this is a foul simultaneously with the snap. It didn't become a foul until the ball was snapped, because if it got off the field, that wouldn't have been a foul. So in that instance, we do not kill the play. We just throw the flag and we let the play continue. Right? So we do not kill the play. The player is trying to get off the field, and the ball is snapped prior to him getting off the field. The live ball foul, we just throw the flag. Another one is an entering substitute should be on his team's side of the neutral zone when the ball is snapped or free kicked. So it is, again, let's say the defense is way back. We're on a 10-yard line. And we got 10 on the field on defense, and the 11th player is on the field trying to get to their side of the neutral zone, and the quarterback snaps the ball. Well, we're going to have a live ball, illegal substitution. The ball is live because it didn't become a foul until the ball is snapped. Now, caveat to both of these. If any of these players participate, then we have a legal participation foul, which is a 15-yard penalty. We'll talk about that when we get to Rule 9. But in this instance, these two are 5-yard penalties, and they're marked from the previous spot. These are not tack-on fouls. So in other words, if a player tries to get off the field and they don't get off the field and we throw the flag, then what will happen is once the play is over, team get to choose either go back to the previous spot marked 5 yards or decline the foul and take the result of the play. An entering substitute, same thing. If now you're side of the field and the ball is snapped, it's going to be a previous spot foul. It's not a tack on. We're going to either mark it from the previous spot or take the result of the play. That's just one signal. So we're not killing the play, we're letting the play happen. Now, let's talk about a non-player after the snap. During a down, a replaced player or substitute enters the field, but does not participate constitutes an illegal substitution. So in this instance, there's 10 on offense or 10 on defense. All right, the 11th player is not on the field, supposed to be on the field, not on the field. But the coach yelled, "Where is?" And then, oh shoot, I would have been on the field. So before they stepped on the field, the ball was snapped. Okay. They step on the field, don't participate, don't interfere with the play. We're going to have a flag for illegal substitution because they stepped on the field once the ball was snapped. This is a non-player foul. And this foul can be tacked on because this foul is done from the succeeding spot, or basically where the ball is going to be snapped next. Right? So out of the two illegal substitutions, right, we have dead ball before the snap, live ball that happens at the snap, and then an illegal substitution that happens after the snap. Don't know if you ever knew about those three or how those three work, but yes, those are the three ways you do a sportsmanlike illegal substitution. Right? So that is it. All right, you're gonna unmute yourself. What's up, everybody?
So
Any questions about anything we covered? Everybody got it? Everybody's good then. All right, I'm glad. How many people knew about the different ways to enforce substitution? Come on. No question on substitution. Everybody got it. No problem doing the season. All right, so that's it, guys. I will have these last week uploaded on Nearpod with the PowerPoint as well as worksheet along. So if anybody have any questions, everybody good to go. Take your word for it.